Hey there, y'all. Have you been wondering about the latest Petra remasters that just came out from Girder Records? The first two albums remastered for vinyl and CD. Well, I've got them, I've listened to them, and we'll check them out. Coming right up. Hey there, y'all. Tim Risto here, host of the Creative Christians Podcast, back again for another Tim Talks Christian Rock. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you're having a great day, and may God bless your day. Today, we are going to talk about the latest remastered albums that have come from Girder Music for Petra. Their first album, originally released back in 1974, self-titled album, Petra. And their second album, Come and Join Us, originally released back in 1977. Both have been remastered by Girder Music for vinyl and CD. CDs have been out for a little while, but the vinyls just came out. I got my package the other day. Did a quick overview video, or quick look video, just kind of a visual glance at all of them briefly the other day, but I wanted to be sure and take time to do a little more thorough review, so we're going to do that here today. The package deal included both vinyls, both CDs, as well as a poster and a sticker that you got if you ordered that package deal. And so that's what I got that came 2-3 days ago now. So anyway, I've had a chance to listen to the vinyls and the CDs, so we'll do a little bit deeper dive into all of that right now. So let's get started. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the CDs first. Here is the first album, Petra, from 1974, with that, I guess you could say, kind of iconic and symbolic cover art for their first album, Petra, there in the rock, because Petra means rock. This kind of sandy, rocky album art there with Mary and Joseph there on the mule, kind of down in the corner there. Kind of cool. There's the back with the song listing there. There are 10 tracks on this first album. Here's the inside. I do like the nice printing on the CD that matches that cover art and in the tray. In a way, this first album was, especially when you're redoing the graphics on something or enhancing the graphics, they had very little to work with because the graphics on this first album were very, very simple. You have that front album art, and that's kind of it. The back album art did have, on the original album, did have, this picture of the band that's here in the book. This is the book, by the way. So they kind of stylized it and used that. But other than, Petra in the rock and the sand and this photo of the band, that's about all you got to work with. So I admire Girder again for kind of making it work. They kind of just added sand, kind of rock surface, texturing behind like the lyrics pages and stuff like that. Don't have a lot to work with, but it works. It adds kind of that brown textured tone to the graphics work, and that helps to enhance things a little bit. Second CD from 1977 is Petra's Come and Join Us, which has actually some pretty cool artwork on this. I've liked this, and the logo has become well known. They utilize that, both of those things, in a couple ways here. I'll show you in a minute. Here is the inside, again, making use of that front cover art on the graphics on the CD itself. Very cool. There's the tray, the booklet, which again similarly makes use of cover art, all the lyrics, and some liner notes. Very simple booklets, but the color, I like even the choice of coloring and stuff, and some of the graphics just kind of gives it, obviously playing off of the cover art colors is nice, and just kind of gives it a little warmer tone throughout the whole package. And here is the vinyl for the first self-titled album, Petra, from 1974. I still got my hype sticker on there, so you can kind of get a little sense of that. 180 gram burgundy vinyl. It's the back cover art, which again pretty much mirrors the original release, except they added this texturing. I think it was originally just all white around the band photo. And so this kind of adds a little more interest. I think they did a good job of, again, having minimal graphics material to work with, of stylizing it and making it look good. It's very similar here on the inside of the sleeve, this side. All the lyrics here on the opposite side. And then the vinyl itself. Nice burgundy color. Really do like this color quite a bit. Again, it fits in nicely. Kind of this brownish burgundy color that fits in with the style and color of the cover artwork to a degree. Side B is very similar. So there you have the Petra self-titled from 1974 album, remastered on 180-gram burgundy vinyl from Girder Music. Very nice release for sure. And before we move on to Come and Join Us, let's talk a little bit about the music on this album. This one really, and Come and Join Us as well too, are albums of 70s rock, Jesus music style rock, very much so. In fact, I remember when I first got into Petra around the Beat the System era time, 85, 86, somewhere in there. And, I, of course, was very much into that album and was listening to some of their back catalog a little bit, from Never Say Die to More Power to You and Not of This World. And I love that era stuff. I love that Volts era of music very much so. That's what I started on. And then in time, I went back and listened to Petra and Come and Join Us. And at the time, I remember when I started to do that, being a little disappointed because it wasn't like the Volts era sound at all. It was this very much, like I said, 70s style rock, Jesus music style music. But over the years, and probably over the last couple decades even, I guess, I've really come to respect these albums quite a bit. In fact, when I put both of these remastered albums on the turntable last night and listened to them, I just really enjoyed them. In fact, I really, really was getting into them more than perhaps I have ever before. Kind of shows your changing music styles, or your openness to different music styles. And as you get into a band, you can appreciate the different eras and sounds and styles of music that they went through. You really begin to appreciate more so when there is a quality effort, which this clearly was. I know this album was produced for probably under $1,000 way back in '74, so it wasn't made for much. But, it's got a good sound to it. The recording is probably a little rawer than, say, the Come and Join Us album, but it's still good. It's got a neat sound to it. And, of course, largely songs written by Bob Hartman, but there are some written by Greg Ho, I believe is how it's pronounced. Hoff? I'm not quite sure actually how his his last name is pronounced. But anyway, good tunes. More evangelistic than what later Petra would become. And this album has a really neat variety of styles on it too, actually. You look at side A, I love the 70s rockers on here. So songs like Walking in the Light, Wake Up, Get Back to the Bible, Gonna Fly Away, Storm Coming. Those are all particular favorites of mine because they just lean into that 70s style of rock. But the other unique thing about this album is it's got more experimentation than perhaps any of the later Petra really does. Walking in the Light is a 70s rocker, followed by Mountains and Valleys, which is a ballad. It's okay, but it's very ballad-like. Lucas McGraw, which of course has a reputation, it's kind of this country goofy song a little bit, but it's got some bluegrass vibes to it as well. Wake Up is another great rocker, which is written by Greg Ho, I believe, and that's one of his songs that I really like. And then you've got Backsliding Blues at the end of side one, which is a blues song. So this variety from rockers to ballads to country bluegrass to rocker to blues style, just all on one side. And the sound between the guitars and, even Hartman and Ho's vocals comes across pretty consistent, actually, even though the music styles are varying. But I like that experimentation. In fact, I kind of wish, now in hindsight, that they'd done another album or two in this style, because I would be very curious as to how they would have developed along those lines. But of course, Hartman found the sound and the style for Petra that later really defined the band. But these first 2-3 albums in particular, one could even make an argument a little bit on Never Say Die Yet too. They were kind of finally refining their sound. Side B is similar. You got Get Back to the Bible's 70s rocker, So Is Gonna Fly Away, which has a great Hartman guitar solo in it. I'm Not Ashamed has a little more of a groove vibe to it than Storm Coming, one of my favorites actually of all Petra songs, and that's got a great Hartman guitar solo in it too. And then Parting Thought, which is kind of a partial song really, just a minute and a half, but it's kind of a closing balladish kind of song. But again, even Storm Coming is very different from Gonna Fly Away, which is a little different from Get Back to the Bible. So there's different styles even among the 70s rockers, plus the ballads and the groove and those different styles on here. So it's got a surprising bit of variety in its 70s sounding tunes, which I really, really like. Really a good album. If you've never given it a listen and you do have some respect and enjoyment of 70s rock and Jesus music, definitely give it a try. It's really a very good album. And this version, in my opinion, sounds great. I think it's really a good sounding vinyl, as is the CD. Well worth picking up. All right, here we go with Petra's second album here on the remastered vinyl. Petra's Come and Join Us from 1977. This one here remastered by Girder on this 180 gram yellow vinyl. Love the cover art. Love that logo. Just very cool. Gives it kind of a consistent vibe with this kind of almost medieval style. Got the castle there kind of representing heaven, the pathway to heaven. The prince here inviting the people to that are in the shade, in the shadows of the forest, dark forest, to come on up. So it's got this medieval vibe to it, but it's also very symbolic spiritually. And I love that. And as you'll see in a minute, this is the artwork that they created a poster of for this package deal. And this is the logo that they give you a sticker of when you order that package deal. Really, really very cool. The back cover art, again, shows the castle in a little different perspective with the forest on that side. Very, very cool. Let's take a look at the vinyl sleeve, again using a variation of the back cover art here. Really looks nice. I kind of like just the black look with the text on it, and that logo really stands out that way. Lyrics on this side. By the way, these sleeves are relatively sturdy. They're a little bit heavier duty than some of the other paper sleeves, so I feel like they'll hold up a little bit better. And then the vinyl itself. Oof, look at that great yellow, almost orangish vinyl. I really like the color of both of these vinyls. They look very nice. And always cool that they reuse that cover art on the label itself. So it looks very, very nice. Side A and side B as well. Just as with their self-titled vinyl remastered release, this one sounds really good too. The original production of this, of course, is probably a little more polished sounding than their first album, which, as I said, was a little raw sounding. So this sounds even a little cleaner and a little more polished, and the production's just a little sharper. So, you'll notice that difference, and I think that comes across in the remastering process as well. So it sounds really good. This is the album, of course, where Greg X Volts joined them for a couple songs. God Gave Rock and Roll to You, which there's a reprise of that at the end. Excellent, excellent track, and it sounds really good remastered. And then he also joined them for Woman Don't You Know as lead vocalist on those two songs. The rest, again, kind of follows this very 70s rock Jesus music style. There's, I think Holy Ghost Power, the second track, is a little more almost 70s disco-ish style a little bit. Woman Don't You Know has more of a groove. They both kind of have maybe some little gospel-y style leanings to them. Come and Join Us for me is the first one that really sounds like later Petra. Never Say Die, maybe even More Power to You style Petra. That's like Hartman kind of found the hooks and everything that he would later end up embracing much more in the future Petra albums to come after this. But that track for me is the first one that really sounds like later Petra, the Volts era kind of Petra, I guess you could say. Where Can I Go? Without You I'd Surely Die, Ask Him In. A little bit lesser songs, but I like them fine. And then, of course, the reprise, like I said, of God Gave Rock and Roll to You. There's only 4 tracks on side B, where there's 5 on side A. If I understand correctly, I think, the plan originally for this album was to call it God Gave Rock and Roll to You. That was going to be the album title, but the record player nixed that idea, even though that's what Hartman wanted. And they were going to have another track on here, which was the song Killing My Old Man, which later got recorded for Never Say Die, but I think they'd actually recorded it for this, with this version of Petra. But again, that was something the record label nixed because of the title and the theme of that song. They just didn't go for it. So that's, I think, if I understand correctly, why there's only 4 tracks on side B, where they would have had that version of Killing My Old Man. Really like to hear that one. I've heard that version live before, but never heard the recorded one. I wonder if that still exists. That'd be a cool bonus track to have. Would have been a good one to put on these remastered albums, but I'm assuming it doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, a very good album. I like this one too. Part of me right now is leaning a little bit more towards that self-titled album because I really enjoyed listening to that one. This one I love too. I mean, I love God Gave Rock and Roll to You. I love Come and Join Us. I even like, Holy Ghost Power's kind of fun in some ways. But Ask Him In is actually a good closing track before the reprise of God Gave Rock and Roll to You. But there's just something about that self-titled album right now that's really been gripping me lately. So either way, though, you can't go wrong. Those vinyl releases are very nicely done. Again, if you like 70s rock and Jesus music, pick these up. And if you're, of course, a fan of Petra, I have no desire now to go back and get the originals of these 2 vinyls because I think these remasters are just that nice. I think they're the ultimate statement, both in terms of packaging, the colored vinyl, and the remastering. I think those are the ones to get. Okay, and last but not least, let's take a look at the little bonuses that you got when you bought if you bought the package deal. One was the poster of the Come and Join Us cover art, again with that great Petra logo from the cover art and the great poster, or the great cover art painting, picture drawing. Very, very cool. So this is just a half fold. Definitely something I want to frame and put up. But I love the spiritual meaning behind this too. It's really very, very cool. Great cover art. And then, of course, the sticker of the logo itself, which is really kind of cool. These little bonus features are nice. They didn't have to do this. They could have just remastered the albums, but really a nice touch. This logo, I think I mentioned earlier, Schlitt era Petra went on to reuse as the logo for Petra around the 40th anniversary time, and I think they still used it on perhaps the 50th anniversary records as well. So it's kind of neat to bring this logo back. I think the Petra logo with the sword as the T best fits the Volts era Petra. It's kind of more that era of Petra, that's late 70s or 80s era of Petra, Journey style, kind of album art logo style. I think it fits the Volts era best and classic Petra. Where this one perhaps really fits not only the early Petra, but then also kind of some of the harder edge Schlitt era. It's got more of a heavy metalish look in some ways, even though it's an older 70s logo. I just like it a lot. It's very cool. But to me, that kind of defines those eras of Petra pretty well. Anyway, that's it. That's the package. Just wanted to give you a little deeper dive into it after the short form video I did the other day. If you're a fan, pick these up. These really do sound good, look good, well worth adding to your Petra collection, your vinyl collection, your CD collection. If you can, get that whole package. I think it's well worth it. They sound good. These look good, well produced. And it's given me a newfound respect for those first 2 Petra albums again. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Y'all have a great day. Go out and listen to some great Christian rock. Make it some early Petra today. How about that? And above all else, stay in God's Word. Till next time, y'all, have a great one. Bye-bye.